Big exciting news as one major city announces a rent grant, just like I had been reporting. That $150 billion that's allocated for states to spend it, use it, or lose it is starting to be used up. And now, once again, another grant has been announced. So have you found the grants? Are you ready to get the grants? And are you ready to get to the finish line? This is LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is LALATE, and the tail end of Afternoons LALATE, always with rent, eviction moratoriums, and mortgage forbearance, with big exciting news about grant programs they're announcing across the board. One major city announced a grant program just within hours. If you've not subscribed to this channel, go to the front of this channel and subscribe. This is the most comprehensive channel for rent updates on a daily basis, every single day at 5 o'clock. Also, like this video because this is going to be the best video you're going to have, and probably the only video you're going to have about rent today. Let's get to the exciting great news. The next week, tomorrow, will be all eyes on the Problem Solvers bill, and a lot of distraction from the Pelosi bill. Two bills that both give you rent grants, but only one bill can get to the finish line. And the question is, which one, or will it be much of both? The Problem Solvers bill is a $1.5 trillion bill that has a rent provision in there. In fact, it's a very good one. It's in fact the only one that has rent in there that a Republican has supported. The president has come out in favor of the Problem Solvers bill, and it has three prongs, all of which you should want. More about that in a second. The Pelosi bill being introduced tomorrow will likely have much of what the original Problem Solvers, what the original HEROES Act bill had, which was those three prongs as well. But the problem is the price tags. And at $2.4 trillion, her bill is never going to see light of day. At $1.5 trillion, the Problem Solvers bill is the one to work off of and add to. This channel's been reporting for upwards of several months that a deal at somewhere between 1.5 and 2.0 can be had, but certainly not at 2.4. The other twist that's brewing this afternoon is the new grant programs. Grant programs across the country for rent that you absolutely categorically can get. So let's get to the breaking news right now. The breaking news this afternoon is all eyes on trying to get the Problem Solvers bill to the finish line. It has a three-prong approach for rent that absolutely categorically is what you want. Prong one, rent aid. This is rent aid for residential people, whether in an apartment or in a house. You need the rent aid. You don't have the rent aid. And in an eviction moratorium, even if you're protected from being evicted, you still owe the rent when the moratorium is lifted. And when it's lifted, you need that rent. This is a program that would give you rent. It's money that would go to the landlord, and the landlord needs income as well because they can lose their building for not making the mortgage. This is incredible great relief with rent aid and utility aid for you. Now, the second prong is an eviction moratorium, a little bit more encompassing than the current one on the books. It's in the description to this video. It's a CDC order that stems from the president's executive order, which tried to, but did not, establish an eviction moratorium. It was a bad executive order that fell short, but was then cleaned up by the CDC stepping in and doing an eviction moratorium. It was not comprehensive enough and requires a lot of steps. You don't inherently get eligibility. You have to follow through a lot of things to do it. Not particularly difficult things, but you have to do them. A little bit tedious. And then you can qualify for eligibility. Well, under the Problem Solvers bill, it makes eligibility a whole lot easier and a lot more comprehensive. Finally, mortgage forbearance. There is currently no really encompassing mortgage forbearance that protects everyone across the board. There is one for federally backed mortgages established again by President Trump, but it's not comprehensive enough because if your mortgage is privately written by a private bank, which most mortgages are, then you don't have relief. So if your bank, Bank America, wrote your mortgage, you don't have foreclosure protection at the moment. That's the problem solvers bill, and it's categorically perfect. What's going to be debuted on Monday from the Temple Doom is going to be categorically imperfect, not because of the rent provision, which will probably mirror exactly what the problem solvers bill is, perhaps be a little bit better, but because the price tag is too high. At 2.4, it's a bill that you have to reject. Now, the big other news is as we continue to push with the purple power to get the problem solvers bill to the finish line, to get stimulus to the finish line, to understand stimulus can be done at a 1.5 to 2.0 trillion dollar deal and not at 2.4, there are still rent grants, and those are locally. For several weeks, this channel has been detailing on World Exclusive that there is a fortune, an absolute bloody fortune of money left over from CARES Act 1, and that money was given to states. And those states were to give it to cities and counties in the state. And they slowly have, but haven't used it. And now the deadline's running. And it's a use it or lose it situation. And mostly they don't want to lose it. So they're starting to use it. And every single day there's a new grant program coming live. So what I've told you, and I'm going to tell you in this video again, please pay attention and listen very carefully. Go on Google News, type in your city plus grant, and see what the result is. Then do your county plus grant and see what the result is. If you don't have your results, go do it again tomorrow. And then do it a few days after that. Continue to do it because ultimately it may come up. Now, I'm asking you to look for news articles about this. Don't just look for websites that have this. That's why I'm telling you to go to Google News. And that's what I did this afternoon. I went on Google News and I typed in rent plus grant. I didn't even put in a city or county. I just asked, hey, any new rent or grant programs? And one popped up. And guess where it is? San Diego County. Can you imagine? San Diego County is just now using or losing that money for rent grants for its citizens. The county began accepting applications this week for a new emergency rental assistance program that aims to help 8,000 households in San Diego, reports Fox 5 out of San Diego. It's called the San Diego Emergency Rental Assistance Program, will provide a one-time grant of up to $3,000 to cover a maximum of 2 months of rent for eligible households impacted by the pandemic. The Board of Supervisors of San Diego County allocated $24 million of funds that were directed to them by COVID-19. So here we go. That's the money. The applications will be accepted from September 24th, just started, to October 8th. So you see it's a very tight window. That's what's happening with a lot of these grants. It's a very tight window. It's not months and months and months and months. It's just about 2 weeks. You see how tight, September 24th to October 8th? And then the applications will be accepted, and then they'll go through a random lottery. Okay. Assistance will be paid directly to the landlord. What are the eligibility criteria? Well, you must make under 60% of the average median income qualify. A single person household can earn up to $48,000, and a 4-person household can make up to $69,000. It's generally those thresholds. Every time we're seeing these thresholds, it's generally about $48,000 single individual. That's generally the threshold for almost everything stimulus we're talking about, with the exception of stimulus checks. So it's a very good benchmark to understand it. The county said residents who live in cities within their own COVID rental program are not eligible for the county program unless their city funds have already been depleted. So really incredible, great news. So I've had a ton of viewers take the advice of this channel, and they have literally done the same. What I need you to do is you need you to do the same. If you're looking for rental grant programs, don't wait for the problem solvers bill, because you're not going to get that money next week. You're not going to get it for a week after that. You're going to get this money fast if it's available locally. So go get it. Let me answer some of 167 questions from yesterday. Era Simpton. Let's get this ball rolling. If we're going to be bowling, we might as well strike all congressmen and women out. They need to quit playing dodgeball. I love that. William B. Nancy's nurses sedate her to get her sleep, but the demons find her dreams. Maybe she'll end up like Elvis. Okay. Kimberly Beluva. All these idiots in Washington are going to share a brain they at least could all do and get it work. Hey, I love you. Love you back, Kimberly. Rosetta Washington. Good evening, Purple Pound Gang. I'm just getting in from work. I'm kind of tired. So is our stimulus stimulus money on the way yet? No. Thank you. Bill Stowaller. Trump, send the checks or you're fired. Amen, Bill. William Mazota. The cows have taken a walk down to hear what motivational speaker of the House has to say, and I'm a van down by the river eating government cheese, no chips or dips. M907. Thankfully, I escaped the rent trap 28 years ago when I bought a small house. Rent back then was $300 a week for $300 a month for a one-bedroom apartment with a spacious living room. Now no payments. I'm free. Upkeep of seniors, disabled, low-income, free housing, repairs in my area. Now rent is about $1,000. Ouch, I'm glad I don't have to pay rent. Denny Johnson, reject any Democrats or Republicans in our office. Don't support the problem. Excuse me, I read this wrong. Reject any Democrats or Republicans who don't support the problem solvers bill, because all of them are in parties against that bill are against us. I love that. As we start the evening, there's going to be a lot of details. Tune in for Evenings LA that starts at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time with the check. And then 30 minutes after that is Purple Power, 7 o'clock. The spirit of the Purple Power is really overcoming. It's overcoming a lot of obstacles, and we're doing incredible progress. I got to remind you that it was only less than, 7 days ago that we were told, don't do anything. Have one person determine our fate. Have one person determine whether or not we have food on our table or a hands-on unemployment benefits or a stimulus check. And we thought, I'm sorry, is this a monarchy? I thought it was a democracy. We're not doing that. And we stepped up and we really made our voices heard loud. We're not done. We're not done. We're very close to the finish line, but we're not over the finish line. And ultimately, the biggest push this week may be to make congressional leaders understand seats for stimulus. You don't give a stimulus, you're gone. And what I mean by gone is if you just write a bill and say, hey, I wrote a bill. We don't care that you wrote a bill. We don't care you wrote a bill. We care that we have money. And until we get money, you're gone. It's as simple as that. It's called doing deals, getting people things that they need. And ultimately, if you can't get a deal done, you need to be gone. And you can make every excuse in the book of why you didn't get a deal done. But do we care? No, because we would have gotten the deal done ourselves. So if there was a time to subscribe, it's now. Go to the front of this channel, subscribe because it's the best darn community ever. There's a reason why I do rent. Rent is, by comparison, let me give you an example. Rent in 24 hours does the amount of viewership that one of our videos sometimes does in 30 minutes. But I stay with Rent because I really do care about the situation, and it is so important to the viewers of this channel. Also like this video because, why wouldn't you? Sir Lowen wouldn't approve if you didn't like it. Coming up next is Evenings LA. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, stay focused, and stay of LA for more.